Michael, don't talk about yourself like that. Jeez. Not you, Michael. Mike. All right, YouTube looks good. And sounds good on this side. So, welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It is a Thursday afternoon, and we are here to provide support and answer any questions about our products and services. And if you have any of those questions, feel free to jump over to foolishtechshow.com. We have a few different ways you can join our IRC chat there, and you can talk to us directly, and we'll interrupt whatever random things we're discussing or talking about at the time. So, feel free to do that. Otherwise, I got a whole bunch of stuff we can talk about today. So, if you didn't check out the show from yesterday, we have a new feature that we're working on for Crypto Prevent that does kind of tries to stop malware from encrypting anything, like right off the link or right off the bat. Phoenix, to give you an update, I tried it with those that you sent me. The two crypto wall ones won't even execute in a virtual machine, so I'm guessing they're checking for that to prevent people like me from testing. So I'll have to see if I can get a system to try it out on the live system. But in the meantime, I did try those other two, the Holy Crypt and the Powerware, which is Locky version, I think, as well. Both of those did get by and encrypted what they were looking for. So I am working on some other things and trying to figure out where it's failing on that. So, yep, and USS River, I saw that question from Jay Chamberlain, and as far as I know, Herd Protect shouldn't stop D72. Now, Herd Protect is one of those cloud scanning antivirus things, so it uploads and scans against like 30 different antivirus, something like that, and it's highly probable that one of those is blocking D72 because of how powerful it is, and being written in VB, they kind of just attack it that way.
I was more under the impression that it might be some sort of when it tries to do a removal. I didn't have an infected system to test with, so I couldn't reproduce any of the behavior that was described. However, I imagine that it during the removal process that something could mess up, or it could try to close D7 or do something else very weird, which may create some difficulties, but that would be the only circumstance where I could see it really causing a problem. If I don't know if you can confirm that, was this after actually removing files, or does it happen all the time? Because I couldn't reproduce it.
I'm not sure if he's still there or not, so or they're still there or not, so we'll have to
Alrighty.
find out more. So I do have quite a bunch of links that we've been building up here. I see Phoenix is already posting some too, but let's start off talking with some of the ones I have here. First one, actually, this is fairly recent news as of today. So Bleeping Computer was in that lawsuit with Spy Hunter about comments or something to that effect, and on their forum site, and I think they got around that, or they did a motion to dismiss it, and some of it got dismissed or something. But anyway, the latest update in that is Bleeping Computer is now countersuing the maker of Spy Hunter. So see how that goes.
Awesome.
They did. That was a /dot link, so that just got /dotted. If people didn't know about it yet, they know about it now. Another thing is, latest episode of Mr. Robot aired last night, and it was insane. This season is much different from the first one. It's still good, but the first one was kind of like it more about the hacking and taking down an evil corporation and things like that. It seems like the second season is mainly just focused on the internal battles of a schizophrenic hacker. So this season's a little bit weirder. They still have some pretty good parts throughout it, but I don't know, man. If they don't straighten this stuff out, like I know it's not easy to like work through schizophrenia, but it's not good TV. Not as good as last year's TV, at least. So just throwing that out there. And this I thought was super interesting. Have any of y'all ever heard of the Collatz Conjecture, also known as possibly 3n plus 1?
Not off the top of my head, but okay. I mean, there's other things like that. Go ahead. Continue, please. What was the name again? One more time, the name specifically.
There's like other conjectures, or there's other. What are you talking?
No, like formulas and things like that.
The Collatz Conjecture. And what's interesting about this is, first off, it's kind of a. Well, first off, a lot of mathematicians will say that everything can be explained with mathematics and it's all answerable by mathematics. But this is a problem that even those people will say, well, maybe this is a problem that math isn't ready for yet. And the really interesting part about it is it's kind of a problem that was made for computers. Like the invent of computers is what really popularized this problem, and the ability of computers being able to calculate the changes makes a huge difference on trying to figure this out. But basically that thing that I posted there kind of gives you a fourth grader's understanding of it. And essentially what it's saying is you can pick any number, doesn't matter what number, from 1 to 3 billion. And if you do it through this formula where if the number's odd, you do
3
number over 2, and if it's odd,
it's even. Yeah,
3
okay.
n
plus 1. And if it's even, then you divide it by 2.
Whatever, that way. So if you do that, each number that you get back from it, you do the same thing. So you apply if it's odd or even to it, and then do that math. But what ends up happening is for every positive number they've ever tested so far, it always ends up with a result of 1.
Yeah. So that process, that 3n plus 1 or n divided by 2, depending upon whether it's even or odd, is referred to as HiKEA, or half or triple plus 1. Yeah, it always seems to reach the number 1. Now, so what is this a proof? Did he provide a proof in this of this?
No, well, I mean, there's lots of proof. There's actually like an entire Wikipedia page that shows you these kind of trees that it ends up making. Because any number you pick, it can end up on one of the numbers that you previously had done, and you can just basically follow it back down to 1 that way. And they've tested like under 100 million, and every number from there ends up always getting to 1.
Well, if there's mathematical proof been written, I would expect that to be the case.
It's not a proof. They have no idea why it does this.
They don't.
This is the only way it does it. Like if you change that 3n to a -1, it doesn't work. It just infinitely loops in that case.
Sure.
But in this particular case, it always ends up going to 1, and they have no idea why.
Huh. Well, that's interesting.
I mean, it's interesting because obviously something is happening there. Some reason that always comes up with 1, but nobody knows why. Every pattern they've seen, it ends up falling through, and it.
I think the proof would derive from the fundamental values of positive and negative. I believe it may end up in 1 because it may it may favor the ladder or the second check, because it checks to see if it's even first. So it may just favor the odd value, which is always going to be basically an even plus one, and so that's where the one might come from. But that's just a theory. I don't know how to do that mathematical proof wise. But anyway.
Well, I wouldn't imagine that after just having Googled what it is that you're able to figure out what mathematicians haven't been able to figure out for 80 years or so. And like a lot of famous mathematicians too. So.
Yeah, well, they would have easily tried that already then if that were that simple.
Yes, they first go to Google like you.
No, this isn't. The Google isn't saying
Michael,
anything about this. I just thought of that.
It's just amazing how if he's not talking, he can't wait until he like anticipates when you're going to be finished talking, and then he jumps in like a half second early. You know, if he doesn't just interrupt outright, but it's just like, gosh, you didn't even just.
So I thought it was really interesting, and it is made for computers because computers can do this much faster, and it's just interesting that it's a problem that no one's been able to figure out, and it seems completely random except for the fact that you always end at 1. I mean, that there has to be a reason for that, but they have no idea.
Okay, so it's based. It only works for binary.
See what I'm talking about?
It only works for binary numbers.
Right after you said that.
It only works for binary numbers. That's probably key to it.
What do you mean binary numbers?
In other words, the
Why
number.
when you figure it out, you let us know after the show.
Yeah, after you come up with the proof. So anyway, if you're interested in that, definitely check it out. I thought it was a pretty awesome thing. So this next link was really interesting to me because I did not know this connection. But the CEO of Pokemon Go, which I'm assuming it's the CEO of Niantic, since they make Pokemon Go, but that's actually the same person that was like, hey, guys, since we're out here street view mapping the entire world, why don't we just collect all the Wi-Fi data that we can while we do that? So that big privacy issue that Google had with their street view cars collecting Wi-Fi data such as access point names, BSS IDs, open or security status, and everything else that you can get for free. And if it was open, they were even collecting data that they were sniffing over the air. So the person that was responsible for that is the maker of, or the CEO of Pokemon Go. So just keep that in mind for your privacy conscientiousness. Hopefully they learned their lesson. So I'm kind of excited about this too. No Man's Sky comes out tomorrow, and worldwide it was released on Wednesday, I believe, for PS4 owners in the US only. But what's awesome about this game is it's a space adventure, and what it says here is it's a procedurally generated space exploration adventure, which promises a truly open universe filled with seemingly infinite things to explore. And they've already had over 10 million different species or something like that. Yeah, 10 million species discovered. So 10 million randomly generated or procedurally generated creatures have been discovered. And I think in that article they said that the most species that have been discovered on Earth is like 6.5 million or so. So I thought that's pretty awesome, and I'm excited to see it come out and how it's going to look and what it's going to be like. I thought it was pretty cool. Another interesting fact is, did you know, I did not realize that Alaska was this big, but apparently Alaska is as much as the land mass of 17 or 19 different states, including the one I'm currently in, South Carolina here.
Yeah, Alaska is huge.
Yeah. It's also interesting, too, if you look at that graphic, that the only habitable part or place that is inhabited is kind of the Louisiana, Virginia, Florida area there. Like most everything else in there, it's not a bunch of people living on or doing anything with. So it's pretty crazy. We got that much land up there not doing anything with. Did y'all hear about the guy that climbed Trump Tower yesterday?
No, did not hear that.
Yeah, so this is a video of him getting arrested for it. So this is them taking him down. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. And apparently he also released a YouTube video, which I didn't keep that one just because it was so weird and stupid sounding, that he released a video on YouTube that he was going to climb the Trump Towers to get Donald Trump's attention because he has a very important message or proposition for him, and it would behoove him to take note of his request. Really, really weird stuff. And why would you climb Trump Tower to try to get Trump's attention? I feel like that would not be the route to go about that. But you can look on YouTube if you want to find that video. I'm not going to post it because I don't think it's worth it.
Okay. This is an interesting theory on a proof of it.
You're still stuck on that?
Yeah. And this tells you how to do it computationally too, which is kind of neat. So you can test it out programmatically.
Yeah.
And it actually takes into consideration how computer adders work in computers to come up with that. So that's sort of interesting.
Adders.
I think it's an interesting thing. But moving on from that, this was pretty interesting too. A short film about the Pelican Bay town. Their mayor is very concerned, or not very concerned, about their lake monster problem. So it's a pretty funny video if you want to watch it. Oh, and something I just seen today. If everyone here wants to feel super old, watch this, Kids React. So this is Kids React to a Nintendo. So the original Nintendo. And what's fun in there is people like 18, 19 years old are like, I've never even seen one of these before.
Oh, is this the, oh, really? Oh, no. Are we that old? Is it that?
Yeah. So if you were alive and playing NES when it came out, you are super old.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, so
They never
just
played
pretty funny,
Punch
like,
Out. Oh.
they even made it so that when they put
Play what?
what?
If you play what, you're super old?
If you were alive and playing Nintendo when it first came out, you're super old.
You suck.
Because what was funny about it is they actually made it so when the kids tried to put the cartridge in, that it wouldn't work the first time, and they had to blow on it to get it to work. Like they had it set so that when, like they just handed them the Nintendo box and they're like, "What is this? Is this a DVD player?" And then they're like,
I love these videos. They're hilarious. Yeah.
they're like, "All right, here's the controller," and they're like, "This is the worst controller ever." And one of them was like, "Oh, I have an iPhone case like that."
I know my nephew does too, but he actually does have a concept of what a retro Nintendo is, though, because he's older now. But funny now, but yeah, that's.
But then they handed them Super Mario Brothers, and they tried to put it in, and when they put it in, it just didn't work. And they were like, "So what would you try if this happened to you and you wanted to play the game?" They're like, "The reset button." And they're like, "No, a lot of people thought that you should blow in it to get it to work." And then they're like, they came out and said that that actually shouldn't or doesn't work. And then the kids were like, "Obviously it does, because it wasn't working. I blew on it, and now it's working."
Yeah, they
How does that
basically
not
they
work?
recreated that whole meme by a trial and error. Yeah, that's kind of cool. With the new generation who had never experienced that before.
I thought it was pretty awesome.
I worry that these people have never run across any reference to an original Nintendo. How they don't get out much then, do they?
Well, some of them were like, the oldest thing I've played is a PS2.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so that made me feel old.
But I mean, clearly they probably knew there was, there was a PS1, one, original at one point, and there may have been predecessors to that as well. So they had the idea even from the get-go that it was a gaming console of some sort. So at least they weren't, completely like, oh, what is that? Afraid of it.
No, a lot of them were like, "Is this a DVD player?" Like, I think 2 of them at least said, "Is this a DVD player?" when they got handed it. One of them had a hard time figuring out where the cartridge went.
I mean, I could see somebody more easily confusing it for a VCR, but anyway. Interesting. My door never did fall off. Did your door ever fall off? I would have thought that the door would have fallen off more, but it never did.
No, mine didn't either. I thought this was freaking awesome video. It was super funny, and like this would be what I would think would be classified as torture. Like, if they did this in Guantanamo, like, I would feel like that was against human rights. But this is people assembling IKEA furniture on LSD. So IKEA furniture is not the easiest to assemble right off the bat.
Where do you find this stuff? Where do you find this stuff?
IKEA furniture is not very easy to assemble right off the bat. So doing it on acid, I imagine, is impossible and like torture. But speaking of LSD, apparently the feds have come out and said, even though the Obama administration has said they're not going to pursue it, the DEA has said that
oh, you're joking.
they're not going to downgrade marijuana as a Schedule II drug so that research and stuff can be done on it.
They won't? You said?
They will not. So it still has the same status as LSD or heroin. So
okay, that's what I was trying to get at. Why are you mentioning LSD and heroin and all these other things in your links? Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
But on that same note, with LSD and all this, if you want to experience your own acid trip, this is Dan Deacon's song, When I Was Done Dying, redone by Adult Swim, which I was realizing after, like I said, I've been watching a lot of Adult Swim stream, that Adult Swim, I believe, has more music videos than MTV does. So, really good video, though. I really like the song, too.
So does Nickelodeon.
Yeah, everywhere except MTV or VH1 or any of those. But I thought it's really interesting because Adult Swim does a really good job cartoon-wise, and they really recreated the song lyrics almost perfectly in it. And it actually, if you listen to the song without watching it, it's kind of confusing. But if you watch that video, it makes a whole lot more sense. If not, makes more sense that it's just a acid trip the dude had and wrote a song about. But it was still a pretty good song. So this one I thought Nick would be interested in. Apparently, it pays to be grumpy and bad-tempered.
Really?
Yeah, so people like Hugh Grant hates every film he's been in, even though he's made $80 million from them. Amazon CEO has a repertoire of signature insults, such as, "If I hear that idea again, I'm going to have to kill myself." Beethoven was easily frustrated and would throw objects at his servants. Bill Gates, even though he's now known for being charitable and laid back, he was used to be famously easy to anger. So,
I know Steve Jobs was. And look at that Linus guy, the Linux guy.
Yeah, he is too. Yeah.
He's the biggest, self-admittedly.
The most interesting thing in that one was the optimistic newspaper articles have been linked to poor economic performance in subsequent weeks. So even if you just read happy stuff, it makes the entire economy bad. So maybe why our media is focused on pessimistic stuff is because it's good for the economy. And yeah, for the Steve Jobs thing, I feel like the second Steve Jobs movie was better and more accurate than the first Steve Jobs movie. So the first one, he was kind of like praised as a messiah, and like it was almost like Apple had a review process on it before they were able to release it. The second one was like the exact opposite of that. So second one was much better. Yep. Grumpiness and sarcasm will lead to immortality. Future's Tech Quark is.
That's effectively what that article is about, though. I don't necessarily. Really? What?
Shut up,
How
Michael.
long of a study did they do? I mean, how long?
I'm about to throw something at you.
Oh, it's just only because we're in a virtual office.
I don't know, 644 patients. I don't know if that's enough, but I guess it's good.
Well, I mean, the examples of the extremely famous and well done people.
I know you can pick people, but I mean, picking 5 people in history isn't. I don't know, is perfectly representative of every person. I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I would like to see if like Ben Franklin or Tesla or Aristotle or any of those were known to be quick to anger.
Maybe tomorrow a whet'll pop up that'll let you.
The next thing thrown at.
That'll let you, pick a famous person and see what they're, whether they're grumpy or happy.
Future's Tech Quark. We saw the. Oh, did we miss the? Oh yeah, we did miss it. Okay, let's see. So we did talk about Herd Protect at the beginning. We don't believe it should, but because of how Herd Protect works, it scans against like 30 different antiviruses. There's a possibility that one of those antiviruses has it, whatchamacallit, badly labeled. What's that called? False positive.
False positive, yeah, is what you're looking for.
So it's possible that would have something to do with it. It shouldn't like destroy it or anything, but it may delete the d72.exe if you have it set to automatically delete stuff. But
I tested.
As far as we're aware, it shouldn't.
I personally tested Mr. Chamberlain, and it did not produce that behavior when I ran it. Of course, it wasn't running it on infected systems, so. Huh?
How do you know it's a Mr.?
I
don't. I'm sorry, Mr. or Mrs. My apologies.
He's been doing that. He just automatically refers to everything as a he, like the school or the children, the kid, whatever, the fourth grader, something else.
Yeah.
Just does that. Just no big.
I do it on accident, but I accidentally.
Mm.
Yeah, and they confirmed he is a he, but still, I try to make that people aware of that you can't just say, hey.
And you know what? I don't like acronyms either. As long as we're talking about news and stuff, I mean, that's how people get confused. Or even worse is saying an acronym as if it were a word, like DOS. I'm sorry,
Any.
it's kind of a word though. Don't say any file unless it's .any for real.
So we don't see any reason for that. They have to do a system restore to get D7.2 to start again. That is very strange.
What happens when you attempt to launch D7.2? Nothing, or is there some behavior that you can also? There's a safe mode for D7.2. You can launch it holding in the control key on your keyboard, and it should give you a prompt. I don't know if you've tried any of that stuff.
Yeah, that is very interesting. And if you can see what it's classifying, or if you have any of the reports from Herd Protect saying what it's done, we can take a look into those and see more about it. And if you want to just shoot those to support@foolishit.com, we'll get them and take a look and look more into it. So Michael did some testing.
Does he have an open ticket already, I think?
It was a blank system, so. Michael, is that why you're doing testing? Because he already has a ticket about it?
No, I was just interested in it when I heard about it, and I wanted to see if I could try to figure something out. I hadn't used Herd Protect all that much, and so it's been a while since I looked at it. I wanted to just try it out.
And said they infected a PC to test D7.2 with, and it starts and then immediate closes. Definitely try the safe mode launching. That could be something. Otherwise, immediately closing, I'm not sure. The only reason I would see that is if there is an issue with the WMI and what it's pulling, and safe mode should get around that.
Or some malware potentially trying to do it. But.
Yeah, possibly some malware is blocking it, but I haven't heard of that yet. It's reasonable if it's being used to remove malware, but I haven't heard of that situation yet. So, yeah, if you want to first. Let's focus on the Herd Protect thing and see what's going on there, because I think that's a very interesting problem. And if we can get the logs and reports or anything that come with that and send it over to us, we'll be able to check more on there.
Is it happening on just one system, or is it multiple systems?
It's the test system that he did.
Okay.
He infected a system and then wanted to test D7.2 removing it. So.
Have you tried to, you can, sometimes it's useful to use debug when doing that, and if it is the malware that's preventing D7 from launching, using debug to have the computer restart and not load
so
the
he was
malware.
saying he actually was able to remove the malware on the system, it just, D7.2 wouldn't start anymore, it would just close. And that's where I was thinking if WMI was broken after
after the malware. I agree.
That's a possibility that could do
likely possibility, yeah.
But also with that Herd Protect log, if you want to send us, if you know the files that you infected it with, we can do some testing with that and try to get the same scenario that you had going on there too. That would be nice. So I thought this was interesting, and this actually came out in August 8th, so came out on Wednesday, I guess. There's a new movie with Jonah Hill and someone else. August 8th. That's a weird release date on the
Jonah Hill.
The month, but it looks pretty interesting, and I want to see it because it's called War Dogs, and it seems like it's Dogs of War without Nicolas Cage and a second person being but no, they had the second person in that. So it looks interesting. I'm still going to see it because I really liked Lord of War, and and it seems like the same premise. I'm not sure if it's the same exact thing or not, but it looks really interesting. So I'd recommend checking it out. And it's still in theaters right now too, if you want to go see it. Phoenix, I have a ton of links. A ton. Like I have like Michael wouldn't let me talk on Tuesday, so I have Tuesday links. We did the thing yesterday, so I have Wednesday links, and then I have today links. So I thought this was pretty interesting. Spotify launched a cartoon to teach you about music, because that's what I would expect from a streaming music app service. To make a cartoon, who knows? I don't know. But hey, Adult Swim went the opposite way, and they're doing good, so maybe it'll work for Spotify. So, did y'all know there's a new Transformers coming out?
Don't think so.
And isn't there a new Transformers coming out?
Yeah,
I
that's
figured there
true.
would be one, but I hadn't heard about it.
5th Michael Bay Transformers film, and it's called Transformer: The Last Knight's Megatron.
I wonder if they'll like
Last
make the characters like in the action sequences and everything to where you can tell them apart.
No, Michael Bay again. Damn.
I don't know.
Without still shots and zooms and stuff.
The picture from that, which is what the article is talking about, is it shows you the full Megatron in that, and that doesn't even look like a Transformer. It just looks like a freaking cyborg. Like, I don't even see how that would transform into anything. Like, a lot of your stuff, like the airplane guy, you could see his airplane wings. Optimus Prime, you could tell he was kind of a truck.
Yeah, barely.
Yeah.
I mean, like in the movie, you barely.
Well, I'm just talking
Gosh,
about
you get more than one Transformer on the screen at a time. You can't tell any. You can't even tell them apart. It's like, who cares? I could not enjoy it. I saw 2 of them. I think I could not enjoy them.
I might as well be having
Suck.
seizures when I watch those movies, but
Yeah.
there was one that had a partially passable plot, as I recall, but it's very hard in the action scenes to pick out anything. I'm going to agree with John on this one, or Nick on this one, but it hurts my eyes now. Maybe I'm going to the eye doctor though, so maybe that's it.
Yeah, I've liked the new movies, so, but I was never
Kiss it.
I was never a big like Transformer cartoon watcher anyway, so.
I was. Well,
Yeah.
at least
I wanted to like the new movies.
I was in the theater
not
when
all the
the movie
beastie
came
stuff.
out.
I was big into the original Transformers, but I do like the new movies.
I must have been 10 years old, and I went to in the theater and saw the
I have
movie.
the complete Transformers collection on DVD.
Maybe 11 actually.
The original.
11.
I mean, I know I watched the cartoons, but it's not like I was like fixated on them, kind of thing. So, I actually enjoy the new movies more than I would watching the cartoon. So,
I mean, sure. Like, this is what a Transformer. I mean, speaking of, this is what a Transformer should look like. If anyone, you could tell this guy from the other guy. It's not like
yeah.
you can tell he's a plane.
It doesn't look like just a metal humanoid.
Yeah.
I'd like to see everything else seems to, or at least in the case of the Nintendo stuff, seems to get everyone loves the retro flair. And you started off with a retro flair. I don't see why they can't bring a retro flair back to the movies. And I don't care if it's Michael Bay directing it. Just slow it down a little and do your thing otherwise.
Yeah. I thought this was pretty interesting too. There's going to be a meteor shower tonight, so check that one out.
What
And
is
it's
this?
Sweet.
Which one is this?
one that peaks with almost 100 meteors per hour.
Is this the big one?
But this year we should see double that, so about 160 to 200 meteors per hour.
Oh, that's right. Around my birthday is always a meteor shower.
Yes, and that's the.
Please let him finish the sentence, Michael. I'm sorry, Brantley.
It's okay. That's the Perseid's meteor shower.
Perseid. Yeah.
Whatever. So yeah, that one's out tonight, and get to somewhere dark and far, far away from city lights. There are a couple sites, we've talked about them and posted them previously on shows. I don't have them right offhand, but there are a couple sites that help you find the best place to watch stargaze and stuff like that. I'm sure if you Google stargaze location site or something like that, you'll find it.
Gonna peak tonight, you say? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this was an interesting video as well. If you have a problem getting your head around what a gravitational wave is and why it's or how it was created, and this is something that was just recently detected and confirmed by the LIGO project or whatever they are. This one, it shows you how gravitational waves form and ripple time space. So I thought that was a pretty nice one.
Is that the one that makes it really easy to understand?
Yes, yes.
They use real world stuff to make
But
analogies.
they use that.
Oh, Mr. Obvious.
They use that cloth that is used for showing space-time in most of your demos. So you might have already seen something similar where they put a big object in the middle of the cloth and then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this was the one I was talking about. Yeah, that's a real good one.
But that one shows you how gravitational waves are done, which is different from that ball thing. So I thought this was a pretty good article from Bryce Whitty over at TechNibble. Be a professional, not a pirate. Read the EULA. And basically it's saying if you want to, it's the kind of things like you need to make sure that you're properly following the license agreements of software that you're using in your shop. So if something is labeled as free for personal use only, it's only available for personal use. You can't use it in your shop on every computer that comes in and use it to do whatever you want to do with it. So kind of like our Crypto Prevent Premium is only, or Crypto Prevent is licensed free for personal use. No, it's free for personal and commercial, but for premium, you have to have the license stuff, basically. Never mind. I don't know where I was going with that. Another article I had that's hopefully coming to an area near me is Google Fiber. Google Fiber is going to do home wireless internet for up to 24 cities. So they're going to provide wireless that you can just sign into and have access to, kind of thing. So I think that's pretty cool. And hopefully it'll help with the issue that Michael and I argued about quite a bit, and we're not going to talk about. Also, if you want more to do with your Lexus or Alexa and you happen to have a BMW that has a app assistant, you can now use your Alexa to start and lock your car and various things like that. Pretty cool. We'll skip that one. It's interesting. No, it's interesting. Oh yeah, I thought this was interesting. So this is a story about the person who is the voice of Siri and how it changes their life. And I think that's something that in the digital age definitely kind of flies over people. Like, you don't realize that you're actually listening to someone when you're talking to Siri. Like, that was somebody that went through and recorded all the different sounds your mouth can make in language, and
it was a witch, burn them.
They connected it all together, so it's an actual person's voice that you're listening to.
Witch.
How weird would it be to hear her have a conversation with Siri? Like, she talks to Siri and then Siri talks back to her and it's the same person. Like, she talks to herself, basically.
What do you think her children do and say to her? Oh,
Actually,
poor woman.
iJustine has a video on YouTube that she met the voice of Siri, and she does talk to Siri.
I imagine she would, but I was just saying it'd be funny to listen to her talking to Siri, because it's like she would say something and then her voice would respond back to her. So it would be interesting.
I want to know what she got paid for that. And I'm probably clear it wasn't enough.
Yeah, definitely wasn't enough, but I thought it was pretty interesting. So also in the news from yesterday, so I don't know if they're doing it today or not, but apparently Chipotle is giving away free booze all the way through September, it says. So it is.
Excuse me? Excuse me. Can you repeat that? What's the qualification?
So company has long served beer and margaritas in 1,700 of its restaurants, but now they're promoting a 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. happy hour every Thursday in 300 locations in select areas and blah, blah, blah. And deals vary by location, but
I see.
most are half off or 2
Buy
for
one,
1.
get one. Yeah, free,
So
basically.
you get a free beer.
I see.
Unfortunately, the one near my house has not gotten its alcohol permits yet.
Mm. Yeah, that's all I need is something to take my my inhibition away at a Mexican grill that has a history of poisoning people. But anyway.
Michael, you'd been talking about looking into a new keyboard, and I know Johnny always complains about her keyboard not making clicking sounds. Yeah, and Quark it so that Chipotle can kill off the bacteria in their food. But there's a review of a gaming keyboard that's actually very nicely made for typists. So
for professionals as well. Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so you might want to look into that one if you.
Oh, this might be it. This might be it. Oh, and it's got the Cherry MXs as well. Oh, and that's the one. That's the switch I wanted. Oh, plus so far. Is this made by Corsair?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So this is the one I was looking at. Was it the Rapid Fire or no? It's a different model. This one might be better. But yeah,
Rover says to check out the Steel series, which that's actually the make of my headphones here.
Oh, Rover, thank you for that recommendation. My brother's been trying to push me to get a Corsair, though. Have you had any direct experience with the Corsairs? They have a lot of different models, use a lot of different switches. They also uniquely have a silent Cherry MX, I think, variant, which is basically not really a different switch, but they put a special padding, I think, on it, or something like that, or something that they place on it in addition, I think, makes that happen. But let me know if you have any feedback on that.
All right, so the next link I got here is I thought this was pretty cool, and why did it take so long for this to happen? Someone invented a stun gun that monitors heart rates to avoid cardiac arrest. So that's the main reason for death among stun gun incidents is basically having a heart attack and killing you. So from stun to lethal, I guess somebody didn't flip their phaser correctly. So this is another interesting article that Bleeping Computer has. They've detected that some malicious Android apps are actually using obfuscation and anti-emulation techniques to try to avoid detection. So smartphone malware is evolving into what newer day stuff does. So be wary of that, and I guess we'll start seeing more problems coming up with cell phones and smartphones in the future. I was super excited about this. The Elon Musk and his Tesla company, I would assume, or no, they just bought. Yeah, Tesla just bought Power Sun or Solar City. Yeah, Solar City. And they've come up with an idea for a roof fully made of solar panels. So instead of adding solar panels to your roof, you'd actually replace your whatchamacallit, the tiling. What's it called? What's the roof tilings called?
Shingles.
Shingles, yeah. You'd replace your shingles with special solar panel shingles, and that would significantly increase the area that you're able to have solar panels and coverage and stuff. So I like that idea, so very excited about that. I'm just ready for their home batteries to drop down significantly in price. So it'd be nice to have a 10,000 kilowatt battery on the wall. We had reported on this story as well, and Google came out and has responded that they did not remove Palestine label from their maps, that it had always been just a dashed line and that people are crazy. But I think when our discussion on it in a show this past week, I believe at some point, it was clearly shown too that they actively change the maps based on where you're looking from. So I think there's
It's not just the border issue. Yeah.
it's a lot more going on there, and
I mean, it's not the line issue.
it's more of an issue that they need to realize the responsibility that they're doing here. But apparently they also said that it was a glitch that West Bank and Gaza were not labeled. Those should have been labeled, but apparently there was never a label on Palestine in Google Maps. So who knows? Who knows? And this deal might be over already, but they had a deal on the Dell 4K monitor. It was down to 367, but looks like it's back up to 383 now. So missed that one if you wanted it. Still, it's a good monitor, and for a 4K, it's a good price. And Phoenix did post a link about this one. I don't know if this is the same link or different link, but Dota 2 forum was hacked and almost 2 million passwords were leaked. So password lists out there for people to brute force have just increased significantly again. So I think that's going to be interesting to see how that comes about. And all right, one more thing since we're at our hour time limit here almost. And Chamberlain, we are not planning on making a D7.2 for anything, or even D7X for anything other than Windows. I really just don't see how even an Android one would work, but maybe it does. Who knows? This is the last link, I think, of the day here, that Adidas is going to make a speed factory in Atlanta. They're trying to move all their stuff back to Germany for production, but they are going to have this in Atlanta. And the entire factory, I think, is only going to employ about 160 people. So none of them are small children sewing soccer balls or anything. So I thought that was cool because actually I've been outside of the Adidas distribution center that's kind of up the road from us here. It's actually the largest distribution center in the world in Spartanburg, South Carolina. It is a fairly big facility. So. All right. We've reached our hour limit. Did we have anything else we want to go over or talk about real quick? No? All right, well, I'll drop one last one just to round it off for today. Resident Evil is also coming out with a new movie, and they promise this will be the last one, which I'm thinking their last one should have been their last one.
No! I thought the last one would have been the last one, actually, but
Yeah.
I had thought so too.
wait, that's funny because Jade had never seen any of the Resident Evil, so I started watching them this week.
Oh, nice.
We just watched the first two so far, but you know, it's just getting. I love them.
The first two are probably some of the best game movies I've ever seen. The third one is kind of, it's like you're like, oh, maybe they should stop. And then the fourth one is just like, yeah, they should have stopped. Honestly, with the fourth one, I think they could have just left it at that boat intro scene, and I would have been fine with that being the whole movie, like that whole 10-minute segment.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? I get so into those movies. I don't agree. I thought I think they could keep. Well, I don't really think there's anywhere they could go after the last one so much. But I mean, they'll think of something, you know. So great, go for it. I mean,
but that boat scene on the most recent one is a really awesome scene where they blow up the boat and like or they do it in reverse and then show.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah,
that's an awesome scene. That was really, really well done. But then the rest of the storyline, I guess, is where it was really kind of starting to lack for me. So
right.
But yeah, they have a fifth one coming out, and the international trailer is on that page if you want to check it out there as well. So, all right, well, that is our show for today, I believe. We will be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. for our Friday show. Again, if you do have any questions about our products and services, that's what we do like to enjoy talking about. But otherwise, if you have any questions in the meantime, you can always feel free to contact us at support@foolishit.com or sales@foolishit.com, or give us a call or by any of the various methods you have to contact us, and we'll be happy to help and talk to you there. So thank you much, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Take us on out, Proctor, if you can still hear us. I don't know if you can still hear us.
Let us type to him. I said let us.
He did say his headset died, so yeah. And he just motioned. So cool deal.